Forever.
Definitely.
Let's go back to Twin Falls then. So set the scene for us, because we're going to hear you interviewing the guy from Twin Falls in just a moment.
Right, yeah, Luke Stidson is kind of the main guy. I mean, he's the songwriter, he's a multi-instrumentalist, and whatever he can't play himself, he gets various friends and family. And so, as I said, it's sort of a 5-stroke 6-piece. So the gig they did at the Grain Barge, it was 5 of them. The setup is kind of guitars. There's a strange instrument called a suitcase organ.
Oh, right, okay. Is that a bit like one of those... Sam, what's that thing that you used to play where you move the box? Harmonium.
That's the one, I think.
Is that it?
I think that might be it.
So it's a suitcase organ, that's another name for it, is it?
Possibly. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't really know.
Sound informed, it always helps.
Yeah. Keyboards, etc. And they sometimes have a piano player. They played the Grain Barge, so in the belly of the boat. And apparently it was a great night, and sadly I missed it, but lots of people there who really enjoyed it. I've heard reports since, so yeah. It was the first gig, sorry, I should say, since that they've done with this new album that's coming out, Slow Numb, which is coming out on the 12th of September.
Okay. Well, thanks for doing the interview. Thanks for all the interviews you've done during the year. I'm sure we'll hear loads more from you as we go through towards the end of the year. But as you say, the gig was in the bowels of the Grain Barge. But before that, you met him upstairs by the seaside, well, by the docks, in the sunshine.
Yes. This is Millie Charles, and I'm sitting on the waterfront at the Grain Barge in Bristol, and I'm here with Luke Stidson. And you're doing a gig here tonight with your band Twin Falls.
Yeah. Twin Falls is, I suppose it's loosely me. It's the sort of the one constant thing is that it's me. Probably the other constant thing is that it's not always just me. It's kind of me and whatever friends I can rope in at the time, basically.
And how long have you been together, or how long have you been doing this project?
Probably for about 3 years now. We did 2 EPs a couple of years ago, and we've got our full length coming out in September.
And already you've been kind of championed by Steve Lamacq and Tom Robinson, and were selected to be on a compilation by John Parrish, is that right? So, I mean, how does that feel to get that kind of acclaim already?
It's lovely, yeah. It's really nice when people find it so compelling that they're kind of wanting to talk about it and do things with it. And when it's someone, who's sort of bigger deal for me personally is John Parrish, that's just lovely. He's kind of produced, I think, some of my favourite records, Sparkle Horse and Eels and stuff. So it's a really good thing.
And you grew up in Somerset, so how did you kind of decide you wanted to make music?
It's kind of always been there. My dad's a musician, so is my brother. My brother's in the band, he plays in the live band, he also played bits on the record as well. It's always kind of been around. For a while I ran a record label called Excise One when I first moved to London, and after that folded, I kind of just started writing songs again. Something I've always kind of done, but I'd never really done on a proper level, I guess. I eventually ended up getting enough guts together to show them to people, and people like them, so we kind of put a band around that. And like I say, it's sort of always changing, but it's going pretty well, I think.
So you're about to release your debut LP called Slow Numb, 12th of September, if I'm not mistaken. Can you tell me about it? Can you tell me kind of, what does it sound like?
What does it sound like? There's a lot of holes in it, I think, where there should be music. It's kind of, I guess, if you stripped down all the songs and sort of took them apart and just sort of read them on paper, they would be folk songs, but we try not to be too boring with it, and just, we don't want it to be just sort of like Mumford & Sons or something like that. There's a lot of sort of different instrumentation. There's a lot of keyboards on it, there's a lot of synths, there's a lot of strange sampling of weird noises and things like that. Try and be like as creative as possible, really.
That's quite hard to pin down then.
I think so. I think people just can't. I think it's quite funny when people write reviews and they tend to sort of be different. Some people see it a different way from others and stuff. But that's really nice, though. I mean, I couldn't really say fair on that, really.
And so you have moved from Somerset. You don't live. You did grow up in Wales, and now you live in London. Has that changed the way you kind of write, or at all? A
little bit. I grew up in Stokes-upon-Hamden, actually.
Sorry,
that's all right. Yeah, a little bit. I find that I write a lot about Somerset. There's a song on the album called How I Lost My Somerset Accent, for instance, which is obviously about Somerset. I don't know, I live in London because it's convenient for sort of what I do for a day job. I'm a designer, and it's convenient for sort of doing music related stuff, but at the same time I love coming down to Somerset, and I kind of love people in Somerset. I love getting drunk with farmers and things like that. I do write about it a lot, whether it's, I think I've always just written the same. I've always written about where I come from, or kind of what's going on. And I think there's a lot of bands in London, and there's a lot of bands in London writing about London, and I don't really have that kind of connection with London. I just happen to live there, so yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for talking to me today, and good luck with the gig tonight.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
All my love notes are never written by hand. I use those obvious nouns. I will only let you down.
So that's Janie, I Will Only Let You Down by Twin Falls. There's a lot of baggage in that song, is there not?
Yes, yeah. We did actually go in and talk about, the kind of the melancholy nature of the music. It's darkly beautiful. It really is. And really interesting. I think the different sounds that they bring in there. I tried to kind of illustrate that a little bit in there, but they do bring something extra to the table, I think.
Well, now you've set up the contact, go and grab the album and let us hear some more, because we'd love to hear more from Twin Falls. What else is he up to? He's doing some gigs and bits and pieces?
Yeah, they are touring the album, and they're also ties in quite nicely with what you were talking about last week. You were talking about Songs from the Shed, and they're doing a viral music show called Balcony TV.
Oh yes, we know about that. Yeah,
and it's kind of seems to be worldwide. It seems to be global. They have one in London, and I know they're doing that in the next couple of weeks. So
they literally find a balcony and they get a video camera and they have the artist stood on the balcony outside, maybe a restaurant or something like that, and there's people walking down the street or people in front. And Sam, you've been on it once.
I've been on it. Yeah, absolutely freezing cold.
Where was it?
It was in Camden in London.
Oh right. Okay.
I've never been lucky enough to go anywhere else. We've seen Katie Brooks. She did one
fairly recently. I think Germany.
It was Germany. Yeah. And a few other artists. Well, there's Sam Brooks as well. Maybe all the Brookses.
Anybody called Brooks, they get to go on
family,
Balcony TV.
I think has done Balcony TV.
So when's that? Is that up online now, or is that expected fairly soon?
That's expected in the next couple of weeks. I don't think they've got a specific date for it yet. But yeah, they are the most west they're coming is sort of Wales, Cardiff, and Swansea. But just look out, because there will be more online. So it would be twinfalls.com or Facebook.com/twinfalls.
bbc.co.uk/introducing.
So thanks to Millie Charles.
Thank you, Millie Charles.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Twin Falls.
Tip-top take on the Twin Falls.
We'll get her in again, I think.